Welcome back to the Motor Flamingo YouTube channel by people of the world. As you guys saw on the thumbnail and the title, today we'll be trying for the first time the Thrashin Supply risers extension blocks. So we got the chrome ones. Let me show them to you guys real quick. Here they are. It's open here for you guys so you guys can see. So when you open the box, you just have your two extension blocks and you have your extended bolts that they send with it. So you guys can see we got the chrome ones because our risers were chrome. They have the little groove here, so it sits on the bottom of the riser side, and then obviously on the bottom of the bike here on the bushings. All right, so here's Pandora, our 2019 Street Bob. Now let me show you guys. If you guys have been watching the channel for a minute, you guys will know that I had the Thrashin Supply risers. They were the 9.5 inch pullback, and then I had this mid-bend Thrashin bar. I installed this a few months back. I have that video down on the playlist there on the channel when I installed the Thrashin Supply bar and risers. However, why am I changing it? So I did love the height of the 9.5 plus the mid-bend bars. On my bike specifically, I don't know if anybody else has had this issue. My factory wiring with that combination on a full right lock turn of the wheel had a little bit of a tension on the wiring. So I wanted to reduce that tension a little bit without having to change the wires. I guess that is another option that you guys can do. Obviously, if you have a different bike where you have to get longer wiring to get bars, whatever bars you have, you already got the wirings replaced. These were the wirings that came with the bike because this is a Street Bob. They come with a mini apes, you guys know that. So the stock wiring was already there. They're the ones that I was using, and for that setup there was a little bit of tension, so I wanted to relieve that tension and have a free full turn on the right side. So I went with the 6.5 inch risers because I wanted to try that height with the mid-bend bars, but I believe that I'm going to feel a little better with 1 inch more. So luckily they do sell their extension blocks, and that's what we're going to be installing today. Now I think that with the 9.5 inch and the low bend bars, I think is what they're called. I know they have the mid bend bars, which are the ones that I have, and the high bend bars. I think with the smaller ones, with the lower ones, and the 9.5 inch risers, it would have worked. However, maybe your bike has the stock wiring with a little more slack than mine. In my particular bike, I was having a little bit of an issue. That's what we're doing, the change. All right, so we're going to go ahead and remove the front fairing here. We're going to remove the Thrashin bar bag, and then we're gonna get to the risers to get the bolts removed, get the extension blocks in, and then reverse it all in order. But before that, I do have a new mount for the headlight. You guys know that we installed the Shark Demon headlight a few videos back on this bike, and as you guys can see, it protrudes a little bit out of the fairing there. Now I don't mind it, but I think I found a mount that is going to make it a little more flush, so I want to try that out and see what it looks like. Also, we now have the paint matching saddlebags, the hard bags on the bike from biking, and we have new crash protection. If you guys were following the channel, you know that I used to have a full set of bunking and Santoro hardware front and back for the bike. I have the OG on the front here, and the rear are arriving today, so I will show you guys the rear install and something we're going to do to the rear and front as well, and then we'll talk about the backs on the next video. Here is the new mount that I'm going to be trying to install on this headlight to bring it back into the Memphis Shades fairing a little bit. It's from Speed Merchant, so we'll see what happens. I think it's gonna work. tell you guys, I do miss the height of the 9.5-inch riser with these bars. The combo and came out to be somewhere around 13.5-inch total height to the grip. So, but I think it's gonna work out. I think this inch turning this into a 7.5 plus the mid bend, I think it's gonna work out for me. So, fingers crossed. Now the mount on the headlight that I was using here for the Shark Demon on this bike was actually a bunking. It was the short one from bunking, and I had it on the very first hole here to bring it back as far as possible. And me and Ivan did have to cut. We have to grind pretty much the sides just to fit the bracket that comes on the Shark Demon. So since we have to get this out of the way, well, we don't have to, but since we're doing that, we're gonna move it out of the way so that we can have more space for these bolts on the bushings here for the risers quick. So let's go ahead and get the headlight out of the way. We'll do the work on the risers, and then as we bring the headlight back up, we'll try the new mount and hopefully that works. Bike people, also I didn't want to forget to tell you guys, ever since I had the Shark Demon headlight from Custom Dynamics, this light makes a hell of a difference on the road at night. Obviously I did have the Halo Maker, I believe it's called, from Harley Davidson on this bike ever since I had the bike, and that headlight actually worked pretty damn well. However, you go to something like this, worth every single penny, guys. Every single penny. All right, so I want to take this short moment right here to state the obvious. This is a lot easier if you work with somebody else. I had to pretty much take this apart and all the bars that are all connected all at once while I was putting the blocks into place and the new bolts so it wouldn't fall out of my hands. So, sorry I didn't go over more of that on the camera, but as you guys can see, here are the blocks. I'm putting the new bolts in that came with the kit. Let me tighten this up real quick and I'll bring you guys in closer so you can see in detail what the blocks look like from this side. 1 inch is going to make a huge difference. I can tell you that right now. So I tighten everything up. You could just feel the height. Yeah, it's a big change. So I didn't expect it to feel so noticeable, but it is. So if you guys are in doubt and wanted to try the Thrashin Supply extension blocks for whatever setup you have, whether it's the 9.5 to go to 10 or 6.5 to go to 7.5 or whatnot, they feel super cool. Obviously they have them in black and in chrome. So let's get back to this headlight mount and get the headlight on, get everything back on, and we're really gonna feel the difference on the road. So we'll be out there real quick, taking a quick rip with this new height on the risers. Now check it out. This is them from up close, almost seamless. The lip goes on the top here, and the risers, the bottom of the risers go, they're sitting right on the top of those extension blocks. Super nice, just like anything else that comes from Thrashin. Obviously these risers and these bars, I've had them, like I said, for a number of months, probably almost a year now, and yeah, I love them. Now the headlight mount from Speed Merchant, I already kind of put it here on the bottom on the bracket. If you guys can see, it looks like it's gonna be a tight fit, which I'm not complaining about because it'll help with the headlight from going up and down on top of the bolt being in it, obviously. Now I already encounter an issue here. The bolt that I was using on the bunking to hold the mount in is too small for this, so we're gonna make a quick run to the hardware store and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. So we ended up getting 2 bolts just in case, one longer than the other one. We got the right threading, so we ended up getting a 3/8 by 16 by 2 and a 3/8 by 16 by 1.5. So we'll see which one of these two works better. Let's get to it. Yep, that was metal shavings that was just vacuuming from the ground. Here's what happened. The hole on the stock lower triple tree on this bike is not wide enough for the new bolt that I just purchased in order to use the new bracket that I'm trying to try out. So I decided to go ahead and drill the triple tree here a little bit. Now the bolt goes through. I'm not too worried about it because in the future I have planned to change the triple trees, the front end on this bike, so I did not mind drilling into the stock triple tree, but just food for thought. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and use the 3/8 by 16 by 1.5 inch versus the 2 inch. This was plenty long. I think I could have gone away with a shorter one even. However, I am still going to use this spacer that I have here from bunking set, because on the bottom here we have a wider space, so I'm just gonna try to close a little bit of that space with the spacer as well since I have it. All right, so the headlight's back on with the new mount, the new bolt that we had to drill for. The extensions are there from Thrashin supply. Let's get that fairing back on and get outside and go for a quick rip. Bam! Hey, look at that. That light is pretty much flush with the fairing right now. A lot more tucked in. That's the look that I was hoping that I would get, and it worked out. Outstanding. Can't wait to feel the bars outside. Let's not forget the front fender, because I had to remove that to drill out the triple tree to have more space. Bam! I'm not gonna lie, guys. It came out a lot better than I expected it was gonna come out. I was hoping it came out good, but I like it even more now. Alright, so like I said before, I did have the setup previously with the 9.5 inch pullback risers from Thrashin, plus the mid-bend bars that you guys see here, and that total setup came up to about 13.5 inches to the grip. I believe these mid-bend bars from Thrashin are just about 4 inches. Please correct me if I'm wrong with that. So with that being said, in all reality, we actually only lost about 2 inches of total height on this setup, thanks to the extension block that we just installed on this 6.5 inch riser. So our total height on this bars right now should be sitting right about 11.5 inches. And let me tell you what, I can tell the difference riding this bike now on the highway or just a regular speeds between the 6.5 with the mid bend and the 6.5 plus the extension and the mid bend. It's the right balance, and now I have a full lock turn and I don't have that tension on the wires anymore. With the 13.5 inch total height and this Saddlemen SDC Pro seat, I was definitely leaning on that backrest completely, so I felt a lot of back support when I was riding. With the 6.5 inch riser, I felt like I was bending forward just a little bit too much, but with this 1 inch block, it fixed it. I'm back on the backrest again, so it's definitely working. I'm also loving the new look of the headlight, the new position, and I hope you guys are too. Guys, if you guys are new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you are not new, thank you for your continued support. See you guys on the next ride.